welcome once again to another edition of Let's Chat with me, Meor Addelan. Now, today's topic is a very special topic. It's very close to my heart. It is about giving equal opportunities to everyone out there who deserves it. And definitely when I talk about individuals, when I talk about people who needs this kind of fairness, is people all across the level. And one kind of level that I do want to discuss today, autistic individuals. Now, when you talk about autism, there's a lot of understanding, there's a lot of different mindsets when it comes to autistic. I actually have a very special friend of mine who is the chairwoman of the National Autism Society of Malaysia. Ladies and gents, please welcome Miss Feilina Feisol. Hi, Feilina. We're talking about how autistic people, autistic individuals, they want to lead as normal, as alive as anybody out there. So let's just rewind the clock back a bit. As much as my understanding, 20 years ago, autism has never been taken into a serious thing. It's not even a medical condition. A lot of people think that autism is just a kind of fever, you know, this demam kuning, you know, a lot of old people actually said about it. How has the world recognized that autism is actually a true medical condition that needs support and care and special attention, Feilina?
If you look history, we're talking about 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, right to 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Autism is something people know what autism is about, but they do not know that autism could actually, people with autism could actually be something or someone.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happened was when the numbers got bigger and bigger, people are coming out with ways and means to improve people with autism.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine that in United Nations, autism even have their own day. April 2nd every year is World Autism Awareness Day. What is the problem with autism is the child or the person looks exactly like you and me,
Mm-hmm.
except they have quirky behaviors that people don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you could imagine yourself holding a handphone, trying to work out an iOS system on a Android phone.
Mm-hmm.
The phone is working,
Yeah, it
but
just
you cannot
doesn't
get.
drive, isn't it? There's no
Yes.
link there.
Yeah. So that's autism for you.
Okay, and well, what about the comments that, you know, in yesteryears? I remember during the time of our parents, they would just come up with statements like, "Oh no, the kid is just slow. You know, the kid is just not up to it, or maybe he's just lacking in regards of attention. He doesn't know how to grasp a certain attention." Those comments, obviously, you know, granted, people just didn't understand about autism before. How has that changed in time?
I think the awareness is more. I must thank the media for that. If you remember the movie Rain Man,
Yes,
Rain Man was
Matt
one of
Damon.
the first few movies that we actually, hey, there's someone called autism and they're okay. So now, if you know, every single genre, every single production of every single country, we have Shah Rukh Khan in My Name is Khan. That's on autism. We have Jet Li in Ocean 11. That's also on autism. Let's not talk about Hollywood. And even in the Malaysian background, we also have Redha, which talks about autism. So all these help, you know.
Okay.
And what you're doing now, Meor, what you're doing now is perfect because this is what it is. We need to get the word out. We need to allow people to understand and to be aware. What is autism?
And also, Feilina, correct me if I'm wrong, that being autistic also has its different level, isn't it? You have a certain level where it is quite easy for them to understand better. There are also quite severe kind of autistic where it is difficult for these particular individuals, isn't it?
Yeah. That's why they call it ASD, which is Autism Spectrum Disorder. On the whole of the spectrum, you have the multi-intelligent smart ones, you know, like people like even Einstein, people say who are autistic. Yeah, people who could do mathematics, quantum physics at the age of 14. To the other end of people who can't even speak, almost catatonic. But the difference about autism and other neurological developmental disorder is autism can be taught as long as you teach them the way they can understand.
Yes, I mean, again, I mean, even like, you know, able bodies such as ourselves, I mean, we have difficulties in learning sometimes. That is the same thing with an autistic individual. You just need to cater to them in the ways that they would understand it better, isn't it?
And also the ways that they're very good at. I mean, there are some kids who are OCD, for instance. They like to arrange things a certain way. These kids could be trained to become, for their part-time work or for even for their work, shelf stackers in supermarkets. You see, so if you could focus on what they're good at, some are very good at minute work, baking, sewing, and all that sort of things. So if you could focus on that, then they can make something out of their lives.
Yeah, exactly what we're discussing today. What we want to highlight today is that regardless of whoever you are, even if you're an autistic individual, you can still contribute to society. You can still contribute to the to the nation's economy. Now, Feilina, maybe you can enlighten us. How can autistic individuals contribute? Maybe you can elaborate more on that, Feilina.
Okay. As I said, a lot of these individuals have a certain talent and the best thing about them, every single individual is entirely different from each other. But what they have in common is if they're taught to do something, they can do it very well. So for instance, if you teach someone how to do something intricate like beading, you know, when you put beads on a handbag, on your clothes and everything like that.
You know, definitely
absolutely.
Raya.
They can do it from 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon with just short breaks for lunch and a drink. And they can do it every day without feeling bored. They will not skip out to have a drink. They will not skip out for a smoke because that's what they're taught to do. So certain schools, certain colleges overseas, unfortunately, they train these people to be craftsmen. So if you could imagine you teach somebody to blow a glass, you know, to make art from a glass. They can do it day in, day out, and they can produce beautiful work, which could be sold, could be their career, could work for an industry, you see. But the thing is, we need to have enough teachers, enough experience to find out what they like to do.
Yep.
You see?
I mean, and that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, like to really fine tune and to really know an individual of what their special skills may be. You need that kind of an understanding with the individual to really, you know, drill down and understand and know what their likes and dislikes are, because you don't want to put square pegs in round holes, because that just wouldn't work.
Absolutely.
But if you can put them in round pegs and round holes, it works seamlessly and no problems about that. Now, talking about the whole industry and the adaptability of these individuals, the autistic individuals, how has the Malaysian culture, specifically the companies or organizations, how have they been responding to taking on board autistic individuals to work with them, to work for them?
I mean, let's just talk before this MCO period, okay? We have had dealings with KBS, which is Kementerian Belia and Sukan.
Yep.
They have colleges all around the country. So we did a pilot project to, they call themselves IKBN, which is Institute Kemahiran Belia Negara, I think, IKBN, all right? So one just did data entering, which is ICT. The other one just did hospitality. And you'd be amazed. We only wanted to take 20 just for the pilot study, 20 for ICT, 20 for hospitality, and we had 400 entries.
Wow.
Obviously, there are many of these people around, but they just need a chance. The greatest difficulty I see here is they need almost a one-to-one kind of thing. Meaning maybe one teacher to 5 students rather than one teacher to 20 students.
Okay.
But the point is they can learn. And once they've learned, they will do it over and over again without even thinking of moving.
Okay.
So if you can imagine,
into their routine.
yeah. And that's the thing. They are creatures of routine. If that's their routine, that's what they've been doing every day. That's what they'll do for the rest of their lives. I'll tell you a story. There is one gentleman who worked as a supervisor in a DIY store.
Okay.
All right. He knows every single screw size and how many there are in stock.
Wow.
He doesn't need to look at the inventory.
You
He
don't need a
knows
computer to have to do that. I mean,
No.
wow, impressive.
You just go to him and I say, I need so and so screw. He'll tell you aisle number what, shelf number what, and you'll find 20 there.
Wow. Now, the fact that he's so engulfed in it, he is so into what he does, it registers in his brain and it's going to be there like forever. He's like a well-oiled machine, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, like you said, release, right? Okay,
Yeah.
your position as the chairwoman of the National Autism Society of Malaysia, what is actually your hope and dream? More opportunities, perhaps for these individuals to lead a normal life, a better life out there, Feilina?
Okay. If in Malaysia, we only have 25,000 people with autism that are registered. If you take the whole world, the population of autistic person per country is usually 1%.
Okay.
And 1% in Malaysia is about 300,000.
Exactly, 1% of 30 million is about 300,000. Yeah, I mean that's quite a difference from 25,000 to 300.
Yeah.
That's talking about a lot of missing numbers over there.
So where are they? So this is where I think we still have to go through the myth and misconception of autism. Don't hide your kids at home. Bring them out. Don't be embarrassed. Bring them to school. You know, it's sad. Even though we have a no reject policy by the government, which was brilliant, that means they accept any child with any kind of disability into school, but there are parents still wanting to keep them at home. And we're not counting the ones who have finished school. That means 18 and above. There could be maybe 50,000 of them hiding away in somebody's house, in some rooms.
Yeah.
So we need to get we need to get the message out. We need them to be able to come out, to become, I don't know, to become independent. Yeah. So I mean, I have a son who is 23. My hope in life is when I die, there's someone taking care of him, or he can take care of himself. Because the biggest worry every night is who's going to take care of him when I'm not around.
Yeah, exactly. As any mother, as any parent out there, you only want the best for your child, and you always wish that your child will outlive you and lead a better life than what you have right now. And exactly, it's a great message that you just sent out to all parents out there. Do not be shy. Do not feel hindered should you have a special child at home. Bring them out, show them to the world, because at the end of the day, they are your loved ones. They want to experience life as well. They are your success. You know, you do not need to be ashamed. You do not need to be shy. Live life as much as possible and contribute to society any way that you can. Feilina, thank you so much for coming on to the show. Really appreciate it. Really heartwarming discussion that we had here talking about the autism, the autistic individuals. And I do hope that you've been given much easiness moving forward as the chairman of NASOM, as well as all of your other endeavors. Thank you so much, Feilina.
Thank you, Meor. Thank you for this opportunity to at least, educate or tell people what it's all about. Thank you so much, Meor.
Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gents, that's it. That's Feilina. That's Feilina Feisol talking about the autistic, how special they are, and how they can actually contribute to society as well. Do not kick them out. Do not put them aside, because they have lots of things to contribute as well. That's it, folks, for Let's Chat on this edition. Hope you guys enjoyed this particular episode. Hope to see you again on our next one. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.